Hi, it's Kreampuff and welcome back to my channel. Today I have a fast table runner that needs 1 yard of material and 2 fat quarters and just a little bit of backing. So stay tuned and we'll get started. Okay, so I just wanted to stop and show you what kind of fabric we're using. This is the Celebration collection from Joann Fabrics, and as you can see, the fabric goes to a much more clustered on the ends to a much less clustered in the middle. And this pattern, this works great for this pattern, but you can also use an ombre. If you have a red, white, and blue ombre, that would work too. Or for Halloween, you could use an orange and a black one. But I just wanted to show you the full width of material for this project. Now let's get started. Okay, so what I've done is I've just kept my material as it came off the bolt, and I'm going to cut 2.5-inch strips. I've already cut a few of them, but I'm going to cut up the entire 1 yard of material, which should give you about 14 strips. Okay, so I have all of my strips set, and I'm lining 2 strips up together. And I'm just going to cut the folded edge off, and you don't need to cut much off, just a little bit. There. Cut that off. Okay. Now our table is 40 inches, and I usually like to cover about half of that. So I'm going to cut these at 21 inches. And now I'm using my mat, and I'm just using that as a baseline. So we're all set up. I'm going to use the 21-inch mark on my mat. Make sure I'm lined up here and here. Always the most points of interest intersect that you can get. Alright. Now I'm going to continue on with all of the strips. Okay, I have everything trimmed to 21 inches. What I would do is just take this to the sewing machine and put one piece down first, and just be consistent. Make sure this is always your first piece going down, and then flip the other one and sew a 1/4 inch seam down one strip. And you can piece them all, so you'll put them all into 2s, and once you have the 2s done, you can put them all into 4s, and then just keep sewing until you have one long piece together, and that is what it should look like, alternating them every other one. Now this would also work great with ombre prints. You can do the exact same thing, cut it with the fabric and then just cut off the fold and alternate them going back and forth, and you can get the same dark to light effect on the table runner. So let me get these sewed together and I'll be right back. Okay, I have everything sewn together into 2s, and I'm just going to cut 2 pieces off. Helps keep it organized a little bit. And I'm not even going to iron. So what I'm going to do is open it up, and on all of my strips I'm going to put the heavily more clustered side on the left and match up so that it is every other one. And again, that's what makes this so quick and easy, is that you don't have to iron it until you're all the way finished. Just sew your 1/4 inch seam allowance. Alright, just keep repeating until you have everything sewn together. Okay, I have everything sewn together, and now I'm just going to iron this. One good thing is that, and what makes this a little quicker and easier, is that you don't have to get up and iron every time. So now I'm just going to iron everything in one direction, and then when I'm done, flip it over and iron the front. Okay, so I have my piece ironed, and now we're going to do the borders. So I ended up not using 4 of the strips just because it didn't work for the length of our table. So I actually have 4 strips. Those will, I have an idea of what I want to do with those. But just so you know, so my piece ended up being 46 inches by 21 inches. And so now I need to cut the borders for it. So this is a fat quarter left over from a different project, and I'm going to cut them out at 2 inches. Okay, so I'm just going to take these right sides together and sew 3 strips together. So let me do that and I will be right back. Okay, it is time to cut the borders. I've sewn them together with the seam allowance. And since my piece is 46, I need to cut a piece that is 46 inches. So I'm actually going to take this and fold it in half, not in half, a little bit more, because I need to hit 46 inches. So I just kind of play with this. Right here on my table is my 23, so I want to get this in here and then just slide this down until it hits the 0 side. So if I move it like this, I'm good. So I'm just using my mat just to get it laid out, and then I'll actually use the ruler to cut it. Okay, so what I'm going to do is my 23 is over here. I'm going to line my 23 here on the edge of my material. A little wave in here, so let's just straighten that out. There we go. Again, 23 is here. And I'm going to set it up so I have a good corner there. And I'm going to cut it off here. Now you could sit and fiddle with this if you wanted to. It's not worth it for me to just lose this little ½ inch. Alright, so now I have a piece that is 46 inches. And as long as I have it folded, I am going to stick a pin, because this is our halfway point. So I'm going to stick a pin in. Then I'm going to fold this in to find the quarter point. Right there. Do a little finger press, put a pin in, do the same to the other side, okay. So now looking at my border, I have a quarter, half, 3/4 points marked. So now we have to do the same thing on the table runner. Okay, so now that I'm all set on that, I'm going to take my border. Make sure your seams are on the outside, and I'm just going to start at the center and line these 2 up. And I always just put 1 pin on each side of center. And because I use a guide, I put my pins on the inside so that I can keep these in a little bit longer. Alright, move it down. Going to match up my ones here. And then what I'm going to do is on my ends, see I got I'm a little bit short, but I'm going to pin this together. I'm not normally a big pinner, but when I do borders, I do like to make sure that they're nice and square. So I'm going to pin here. Then the other thing that I'm going to make sure that I do is that this is lined up all the way down. It'll help from creating a wave in your border if this is pinned. So I'm just going to put a pin in there. I'm going to do the same thing to the other side. So I'm going to take this, line up my quarters, put my pins in. And I'm going to make sure that I'm okay here. So I got a little bit extra there. So I got to stretch my bottom just a smidge. And then on here, I have to stretch it a little bit more. I'm going to line this up. And what this does by making sure this is square, when you line this up, if this isn't square, it actually creates, if you're off a little bit, it actually creates a little bit of a wave here. So I always make sure to take this corner and make sure it's lined up evenly. So one there and one here. All right, so just make sure you don't have any big bubbles. So I'm gonna have a little bit of a stretch there. That one's good. And I'm really good there. So what I'm just gonna do is take my time and sew 1/4 inch seam all the way down this side. But first I'm gonna do the other side just so I can sit and sew and not have to worry about it. Once I have both sides sewed, I'll iron them open and I'll be back. Okay, I have my side borders sewn on and ironed, and now I'm just going to do the exact same thing to this edge. So I'm going to measure it, cut my borders out, measure the 1/2, 1/4, 3/4 and the ends, and sew those on. Alright, I have all 4 borders on. I am ready to make my sandwich and get quilting. So I'm just going to do something very simple. I have a swirly stitch on my machine, and I think I'm just going to go this way. I'm going to go down in red and then come back in blue. If you have a variegated thread, that would work really nice for this. But I'm going to put my sandwich together, get my quilting done, and put the binding on, and I'll be back. Alright, here is the final project. I did do a little bit of a wave pattern on the quilting. And if you liked this video, please press and steam the subscribe button below. This is Kreampuff. I'll see you soon.